what goes up must come down. Right? What's going on, everyone? Jeremy Hritz here. Courage pays better than fear trading. The markets are once again at new all-time highs. We're on the precipice of 6,600 on the SPX, and these bulls are just unrelenting. They are not stopping. You had CPI released today, slight drop whenever that number came out. The numbers came out slightly higher. We got initial jobless claims higher than expectations, and you saw a dip. And we actually went below 4% on the 10-year treasury for a millisecond. But stocks pushed up around 54 points at one point in time on the SPX. And it looks like there's some dispersion, that the rally is spreading out to other stocks. It's just not the Mag 7 that's dominating. You have some of the Mag 7 that are down today. You have Oracle cooling off a little bit. You have AVGO cooling off a little bit. And the chip sector is cooling off a little bit. You have Tesla running, which is interesting to see. Apple having a little bit of a bounce. And Bitcoin was up a little bit, but it's struggling to get any momentum going. So it's kind of a weird dynamic right now to be at all-time highs in the market. Everything except IWM has yet to hit an all-time high. And you would have to think rationally from a technical perspective, just looking at the charts, that we are due for a pullback, right? But maybe that's the thing. Maybe the fact that we're saying, hey, we're due for a pullback means that we're not going to get a pullback. Maybe it's when we talk about capitulation in terms of a stock going lower, getting crushed, going down, that there comes a point where everybody is so negative on a stock or a market that eventually that's when buyers step in. So maybe the point we have to get to is where there is exuberance, irrational exuberance beyond measure, where people are like, oh, this is just going to the moon. We're going to keep going up, 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 up. No stopping, load it up, load up the calls, let's go, 7,000 on the SPX. Maybe we have to get there. And I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing that type of sentiment out there. I think people have a risk-minded approach to this market, and I think a lot of people are probably in the same boat I am, looking at this thing and just saying, man, how much further are we going to run before we get a 5% pullback? We haven't even had a 5% pullback. That's crazy. And we're in the weakest period seasonally of the year. So, it's hard to stay long anything, and I sold a lot of stuff into strength and really trimmed down my swing trades and trimmed some of my longer term positions just to get some cash to deploy for whenever we do get a meaningful pullback. But damn, I don't know if we're going to get it. I really don't. I mean, we eventually will, but I don't know how soon it's going to be. I'm stopped for a school bus right now. True story. When I was a younger kid and didn't know any better, didn't have a clue, I passed a school bus like a moron. I was probably a junior in high school. And I passed a school bus at an elementary school, and I got ripped a new one by the superintendent of the school who knew my family, and then I got ripped at home. So I was an idiot as a little kid. So I say little kid because I was probably like 17 at that point. But anyway, that reminded me of that. So back to the topic here. What goes up must come down, right? So it's just a matter of when. We can't call. I did a traders podcast not too long ago talking about how it's impossible to call the tops. It's impossible to call the bottoms. We won't know when it's going to happen, but you just have to have that in your mind that it is a possibility. It can drop, and are we going to get it? So the date that I have circled on my calendar, and I've talked to you guys about this, is the Fed meeting next week and the rate decision at 2 p.m. There's a lot of people saying that we're going to get a 50 basis point cut, just a quarter point cut, and that's because of the weakening of the labor market. And then Jerome Powell is going to speak at 2:30, and I'm going to be doing a live stream. Hopefully you'll join me for that. I will be doing a live stream to preview the upcoming week in the market on Sunday. That's going to be an early one, Sunday morning early. So I hope that you'll join me for that. But I think that after the rate cut is made, I think that's when you get to selling. I think it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news type of deal. So I'm trying to be flat as possible. Come Wednesday, 1:59 p.m., right before that rate decision. And what I could even see is they run it up until Powell starts speaking. And they even run it up a little bit then. And then we hit some like crazy number, it's going up. Everybody's like, yeah, woo, here we go. And then, bam, that's when they drop the hammer. Something like that. So that's the narrative, at least I'm following. And again, I'm being very, very cautious. And I want to get a big dip. I'd love to just get a big drop, because then I want to load the boats. That's where I want to load up. But who knows? Now I'm saying all this, and I'm thinking this is the plan, but it may not happen. But I'm still not doing anything until we get a correction. Like I have taken some swing trades in the past few weeks, but in terms of anything with significant size, I'm waiting for that correction. At least 5%. I'm waiting for it. So, and I may miss opportunities, but that fits my plan, so that's what I have to stick with. Anyway, looks like I'm gonna have a losing day trade today. I'm still in it. It's 3:08 p.m. and that's Broadcom. I thought it had a nice little pullback. I thought I could catch it on a bounce. Nope, it's dropping, so it's gonna be a loser. And part of the price that you pay to be a trader, it's your entry fee into this world. So I'm okay with it. Do I like losing? No, but it is what it is. So probably going to take an L there. And just some stocks that I want to mention, and I'm going to have a video on it because I'm going to really methodically plan out a play here. And that's the company TTD, the Trade Desk. They gapped down in August off earnings. And yesterday they were downgraded by Morgan Stanley, and they have been selling off pretty significantly. They were down around $12 yesterday, down a little bit today. And it's really in a value area. Now I think it still has a little more room to go. You don't want to catch a falling knife. But I am starting to plan out levels now. And as this thing continues to fall, I'm going to start adding shares, because I do like the longer term trajectory of this company. So I'm watching the Trade Desk. I'm going to have a video coming up on that. It's going to be something that I'll be in for until I hit target. It'll be a longer term plan. That one is coming down into the value area, and so I'm looking forward to putting together that video. But go look at that chart, man. That thing is getting beat up, but it is putting in a massive, massive double bottom. So we'll see. And it's a good company. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. And how about Tesla getting some love today? So it's good to see old Tessie get off the mat and participate. But other than that, guys, what goes up must come down. Except in 2025 in September. That doesn't seem to be the case, but we'll see what comes off the rate decision next week. And oh yeah, I recorded the 115K profit that I let just disappear. So that's going to be coming out this weekend. Stay tuned. And I love you guys. I really do. You know what? In a world full of negativity, where everybody has something to say, nobody has nothing nice to say, people can't get along, everybody's divided, you know what? I'm going to bite my tongue and not drop a curse word here. Screw that. you know what? It's about uplifting people, helping people, being the good force in the world. And that's what I'm all about. So go do something positive for someone, uplift, be good, spread goodness, and let's make this world better through the markets. All right, off my soapbox. Make it a great day.